Okay, let's match up this line work with the topo model. I have taken Angelica's model and extracted the contours just like in the last exercise, and this rectangle is the reference shape for Memorial Park. So I'm going to copy the line work in from this file and match it up. I'm just going to select the line work. I don't need the scale bar anymore, and I'll go Edit, Copy, and I'll go into the topography model and go Edit, Paste. Comes in a different location, which is totally fine. For now, I'm just going to use the group command to make sure everything stays together. And then I will use the move command using M to match up the corner of this with the rectangle that we drew in SketchUp. You can see that it's slightly off kilter here, and I'm going to accept that the contour model that we've drawn in from our geolocation in SketchUp is the correct orientation. So I'm just going to rotate this entire thing to match up with this line. I'll use the RO for rotate. Starting in this corner where we've matched it up, I'll use this corner here as a first reference and then just match it up to the end point here. It's a little off, but the shape that we drew in SketchUp was not exactly precise. So for me, I think this works well. So you'll see the contours are different between these two drawings. The ones from Google Earth Pro are not as accurate as the ones that are brought in from GIS. So even though we've used that as the basis for our topography model and our site sections, if you want to just use these contours from band maps going forward, that would be fine. I'm going to create a few new layers on our line work to accommodate building footprints, block outlines, and we already have contours, but I'm going to create a new one that says band map contours just so I can tell the difference. And I'll give those a different color. I'm going to give footprints a cyan color and block outlines will be red. So I'm going to turn off my other layers so that they don't interfere. And then I'm going to ungroup this selection. Now I can go in and select the line work as much as I can. This is a little bit of a tedious process, but the best way to do it is to hold down Shift and continue selecting lines as you move across the page. I'll go through and select all the block outlines next. Those will be easier to select than the buildings. Now I will select all of the layers and set them to display by layer. So now I have all my line work separated onto the layers, and I can use my 1 kilometer site to trim away any of the information that we don't need right now. So I'm going to use this as a trimming object by selecting it and pressing TR for trim. Now you can select all of the edges that interact with that trim object, and Rhino will cut them away if they intersect. So I'm going to press Enter to end the command and then just begin selecting the objects outside of my window. All right, finally, I'll just move a few of the lines that were on the wrong layer onto their proper layer. And now you could export this to Illustrator as a 1:1000 site plan. So give a file, export selected, and I'll call it save it as an Illustrator file, and make sure that you preserve the model scale with 1 meter equals 1 millimeter. That's 1:1000.